How's it going, everybody? This is the last week of Season 5 of Crucible. So this is the last week you gotta deal with that dreaded Room 1 with the teamwork, all the attackers, all the strikers coming in, wrecking your face. Last week where you gotta deal with all the dodges from the Extreme X-Men in Stage 4, putting them under stealth. Last week where you can no longer control the mutant characters in Stage 5 without trauma. And last week where Skrull is gonna ult turn 1 in Stage 3. Instead, we're gonna have a whole new plethora of nightmares to deal with, and I'm going to be joined today by my friend Jgiusti. We're going to break down all the different stages and the teams we think are going to be the apex defense team, and then we're just going to touch briefly on like what we'll probably actually put in there, because we're not going to be turtling like crazy, and our thoughts on the stages and offensive tools that we could use there, so on and so forth. So without further ado, let's get into that right now. All right, so here we are at the global rules. How you feeling about these global rules, Jgiusti? Basically, Hive Mind, get the Superior 6 and Sinister 6 tag. Lots of other stuff is similar, like the barrier. The Revive Once mechanic was flipped on its head. And we still have Exhaust. They still have an Exhaust, I think, is a big win. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think the exhaust thing is a big win. I think the Superior 6 or the Hive Mind having Superior 6 tag I think is going to give a lot of value to your Sinister 6, your Shocker, your Vulture, your Mysterio. Like, you're going to get value out of those tunes, those more focused tunes in Crucible this season.
Yeah, I could agree more, especially a character like Shocker who gives offense up on spawn to Sinister 6. He can now give that to Hive Mind, and they could pop off, and then with Red Goblin having extra damage comes in, they activate the Carnage passive, and then you just pop off like crazy, right? So I think it's very cool for the theory crafting side of things. How do you feel about the Superior 6 doing a kind of a different strategy with the removal of Revive Once? So instead of when they hit, they remove Revive Once, now they need to be hit by somebody who has Revive Once, and they remove it. How do you feel about that? It seems kind of awkward to play into.
Hello there.
Yeah, take hits in because a lot of right now we have a very glass cannon meta.
Yeah.
Right, you're coming in there, you're trying to kill as many things as possible, which is good for offense, right? This is a very offensive heavy meta, and we're shifting to more of a defensive meta. It's not going to be as clean as the other way around.
Yeah, I agree. It's less in your control, right? Like you're at the mercy of what happens with the AI. All right, but that's it for the global rules. Like that's kind of the sparkling part of this new Crucible season, is that Hive Mind is going to be having a lot of cool theory crafting moments here. But let's go stage by stage next. We got stage 1 called Invulnerable. On defense and offense, Raider and Skirmisher characters gain 200% extra damage when under 50% health. My favorite team in this one is the Extreme team, because they have so many health triggers that happen when they hit 50%. Now, 2 of these characters are already Raiders. A lot of people have Skirmisher on Rogues. I think that it's not going to tax your ISO as much as like the current teamwork one did. You also like this team, but you had another interesting pick as well with the Gamma and the Dorm. Why don't you talk me through the idea there?
I think it's just a good budget option. Like, Gamma Dorm is just how do you say, it's one of the leading B tier defenses, and so
yeah,
if you're someone like me who's punching up a lot, you find yourself being a little minded. And then I also like Extreme in another room a little bit better. So this is probably where I'm gonna leave Gamma Dorm.
Yeah, fair enough. And on that, every once in a while, sometimes that Red Hulk, he just kind of hangs around, and when he ults, if he's got Raider on and he's low life, that could be very bad for your enemy's efficiency, if not for just completely wiping an enemy team off the map. I definitely like that idea. I like leading into the Extreme here just because of the health triggers. Because the 50, or what is it, 25% when Nightcrawler drops down, and then he controls himself better with some stealth and a bunch of buffs. Same with Gambit, getting rid of defense up. Or sorry, defense down. Same with Rogue. I think that you're right. There's a lot of rooms where the Extreme and Superior 6 kind of look like they could be really powerful picks in. But I like your budget option, especially for those punching up. Let's move on over to stage 2. Now this is going to be Mystic Healthcare. So on defense and offense, Mystic characters gain 20% drain per negative effect of Bleed, Offense Down, Trauma, or Disrupt. I snuck in here and I threw the new team that has a couple Mystic members, the Out of Time team. I mostly put them there just because they're a new team with new stats and they'll be interesting. Black Knight, being Black Knight, he can kind of go into a bunch of different teams, bunch of different rooms. And then you were thinking a secondary option, a good secondary option could be like Darkhold Quicksilver, but you kind of feel the out of time team probably gets some play here too, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, definitely out of times. This is room is designed for out of time. Um, I think this is just where he tossed Darkhold and because after Darkhold, this is pretty much a blank room. There's not another good defensive Mystic team. Um, and so yeah, you're pretty much either Darkhold for next week. You're either using Darkhold or you're just treating this like a blank room and putting your best defense you have that's not fitting into the rooms.
Yeah, I agree. Like even a team like Tangled Web, where Spider Weaver is Mystic, she's a protector, sure, but she's more like a glass cannon. She doesn't regularly fall low to benefit from drain. If she's getting hit, she's normally just dying. And also, the Tangled Web is just an awful defensive team with all the options we have to beat them now, right? But I agree with you. Like stage 2 is mostly a blank room. We'll see what out of time does in it. All right, moving on to stage 3. When it rains. On defense and offense, when a positive effect is applied to a character, increase the duration of all positive effects on allies of that character by 1 up to maximum of 3. When a negative effect is applied to a character, increase the duration of all negative effects on that ally on allies of that character by 1. Me and you kind of agree. This is your stack room almost, right? Like this is where you put your biggest team that has the biggest buffs is going to cause the biggest nightmare. Why don't you talk us through how you feel about this room?
So this is your first major pain. Like there's 2 main rooms, 3 and 4, and this is the first of the major rooms that are really gonna like dictate how you set up the rest of your defense. And because Superior 6 spawns with so many buffs, they instantly just stack on top of each other. So you automatically have defense up, offense up, and safeguard for 3 turns. That's really hard to deal with. Infinity Watch has that same problem. Even Extreme is gonna do that same thing. It's not gonna be fun. So you have defensive power going into this room.
Yeah, I agree. And like for the Extreme team, if freaking Forge gets his ultimate off, boy, that's not going to be fun. That's not going to be fun at all when Forge gets that ult off. But you also think Superior 6 is probably the turtle option here, with Infinity Watch being a good budget option to try and tax your enemies. And that's going to be the Infinity Watch thing, right? With them, your Superior 6 characters, now that you're going to be able to group them with Hive Mind, you're not going to be able to go in there and cheese the revive once. You're going to have to wait till you get attacked. But we still have the big time option that could help with that a little bit. So yeah, it's definitely a budget option, but still, Infinity Watch, always that eternal efficiency sink, eh? When do you think people should start considering their Infinity Watch to be obsolete?
So right now they're the middle B tier, right? So if you think about defenses, right, you have your A tier, which is your SD, your Superior 6, and then your B tier is now becoming your Horseman. And so they're in that B tier right now, and once they fall into that C, so when we start getting more teams that either clear revive once, so they can push them further down, or we start just getting more teams. Like out of time team pushes them down 1 more peg, and you just keep seeing them move down. So once they get into that C tier, you start seeing them off defense. But right now, you have at least another season, another of them having life. Actually, this season, because look at it. They basically become Masters of Evil, right? I mean, they take like a Masters of Evil. They take, I don't think Eternal as well this time. You need Eternal's APOC because of that extra safeguard. You can't flip with Eternals anymore. So you have to go in there with that, right? Because last time we used MOE at the end. If you're taking a 3-year-old team and you're making it force Masters of Evil, that's a good trade-off, right? Infinity Watch shouldn't require Masters of Evil, but it will, most likely for most players.
Yeah, fair enough. What do you think about some people are doing this where they're dropping Gambit off Unlimited, and because that's the team that also spawns with defense up and safeguard, how do you feel about the Unlimited team being in here? I feel like without the immunity, the Unlimited without Gambits, it's just not as holding as the Infinity Watch team.
Oh, definitely not. With Unity, you're gonna have New War.
Yeah, true. And New Warriors are not going to be as held back by the room rules here, because they're actually going to have increased power with their negative effects against a team that doesn't spawn with immunity. Good call there. All right, then there's stage 4, the spiritual energy stage. On defense and offense, all characters, anytime a character gains energy from an active ability, they gain +1 energy. When an enemy character dies, allied characters gain +1 ability energy, but your ultimate abilities cost 3 more. So a character like Skrull is going to be that much further from his ultimate. Same with Apocalypse, but we kind of have a cheat code with the new Hive Mind team. So Void Knight giving 2 energy to Hive Mind characters on spawn kind of lets the Hive Mind characters bypass this room. They're still going to be opening up with their ultimates, or teams like Secret Defenders Skrull with very powerful specials popping off. You were saying that this is going to be the other meta-defining room of the Crucible season. What's your hot take on this room, and what are some other characters you can expect to kind of grace this room?
I mean, I think that you're going to see hybrids with Secret Defenders. So you're not, you can easily toss in, let's say, Fury. Now all of a sudden you have Secret Defenders with a speed up, because Fury's no longer going to summon; he's going to special.
Yeah.
You're going to see, you can use the Captain America, giving them deflects, things like that. So you have a cleanse. You can do things with that open with a special. And your issue that that's Secret Defenders create is the fact that a lot of their counters, New Warriors and MOE, they don't have their ults available, and that's usually what they use to kill them. And so that's going to be a problem. And then Hive Mind is also designed to create, either be a big issue on defense or be the solution to primarily most of the defenses you'll see in here. So depending on what you're thinking, defensive or offensive minded, you're either going to use Hive Mind to beat this team, or you're going to use Hive Mind to make your opponent's life miserable.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the beauty of Hive Mind, right? Unless the enemy puts Skrull with their Hive Mind, Hive Mind's going to be a pretty easy mirror match, just making sure you get the speed advantage. Especially when you have some of these superior 6 Sinister 6 members that can join them, like Shocker we were talking about earlier, with that offense up. I think you're dead right. I think that this is going to be a very interesting room. I'm curious about a character like Shuri, maybe kind of being a plug-and-play character with energy on spawn. She has the speed up, how that could play into things. I think she's still probably a bit too old, and her slow is still a bit too slow for it to matter, but who knows what we're going to see in the middle of the season, right? Like, these seasons, they always kind of evolve halfway through. All right, head on over to stage 5. This one we both kind of scoffed at. Robotic double. So on defense and offense, tech characters. When a tech character uses an ultimate ability, revive an allied tech character at 100% health. I'm thinking I'm probably going to put a mix between New Avengers and Pegasus here. Like, I'll probably put Kestrel, Coulson, Iron Man Infinity War, Fury, maybe Ronan on top of that, or even Tigra. And just see if Coulson can RNG blow up somebody like Icarus, because the tech characters, with the exception of Superior 6, they don't hold water in this current meta with the current teams we have for both offense and defense side, right? Like, I'd rather throw in a non-tech team than just put full Pegasus here. Well, how do you feel about this room?
Yeah, this room is either you're either going like Massive Turtle and you're putting Superior 6 here because you've already, loaded up 4 with your Hive Mind, and then 3 is your SDs in there with like Sus to make your life and then this is the room you put Superior 6 because you've already loaded up the other rooms.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing that, I don't think this room's worth. I mean, I think I actually really did put Gamma Dorm in here as my team. I'm just literally not treating it like a room. Because the only team that will take advantage of this in any shape or form would be is Superior 6.
Yeah, and then that brings us back to like the global rule, which is a little bit interesting, right? So it's characters that are revived gain a stack of exhaust. So even in this room, when a character does get revived, in that last line on 3B, after each completed attempt or when revived, gain a stack of exhaust. So even if your tech characters are getting that off, they come back exhausted, which is like a huge nerf to what they're going to be able to accomplish, unless it's a very kit-based character like a Doom or something. But I find it very difficult to believe that they're going to find an interesting comp that'll make a Doom pop off here on the defensive side, because there's no speed shenanigans or any kind of resist shenanigans happening here to stop you from controlling them. I agree. It's kind of it's a nothing room. The only reason I didn't put your Gamma Dorm here is because you had them as a stage 1 option as well. And finally, stage 6, the health insurance stage. So all characters on turn will remove all positive effects from self and heal for 10% of max health for each positive effect removed. I got my Infinity Watch here just because they got the safeguard. You have Extreme here. I was very intrigued when I saw that as an option for you. Why do you think Extreme are going to be beneficial here?
Because I mean, first of all, it neuters one of their main counters, which is going to be your Masters of Evil.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to ult with Kang's Kang having offense up, which is very very bad.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't think Extreme's going to miss their buffs more than Masters of Evil or New Warriors will miss their buffs. And again, I think you're going to see a lot of people throwing Superior 6 on defense, so I don't think that's going to be an option for them as a to use against them.
Right on. Yeah, I like that thought because yeah, this room really does nuke a lot of our best offensive teams. New Warriors won't have their offense up from the dagger. Master Evil won't have their offense up. Superior 6 will kind of have the staying power because they got the safeguard, but like you said, they're going to be such a powerhouse on defense that you might have to end up using them in mirror matches and such. So I'm going to be interested in that. But yeah, it does seem that just nuking our offense might be enough to make Extreme start beating the things that they were currently countered by. Yeah, what are your overall thoughts on this season? Do you think it's going to be a good season? And are you happy that they've already kind of committed to having the season? So we're going to be having season 7 is going to be coming up in half the time as season 6 took to come.
I think shrinking the season is a good thing. I think that they should shrink it down to once, changing it per patch. So as they bring out a new patch, they should also be bringing out a new season of Crucible.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a fair goal. Patches are not, they're not too short, not too long. And then you also have teams coming out there, so you can help generate buzz for new teams and shortening seasons. And I think it's going to be good. I'm just also worried at the same time that it does feel like I'm just shifting the teams I already had on defense around in different rooms and then just kind of doing the same old, same old. So I would like to see it where I'm finding teams that weren't on being used currently, finding life. That is my little critique for Scopely is think about that. I'm finding myself shifting just my teams and not putting anything new, not upgrading anything different that wasn't already being used.
Well, let me run this idea by you then. In war, we're currently having these war chapters where we get a war team that gets whatever benefits. Now, we hated it when they did it with Wakanda because it was so prescriptive. It was down to the letter what they wanted to do. But what if we saw a more general buff to whatever team in the general rules, and then you would slot it into whatever room you want to further increase those benefits? You think that would be a happy medium to kind of, like you said, bring up maybe older teams that you do have built up or teams that you haven't built up at all to kind of inject a flex of life into it without having to wait for a new team to be released out of time to just kind of shift things down?
I think that would be good. They just obviously you want to make sure that you're putting something that's going to have some value. So I think this is, I think the Hive Mind idea, like Hive Mind is now a symbiote, so now we can, as I said, the thing that it benefited the most is your Sinister Six that were more war focused.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to find value mixing them in with Hive Mind this season to get another offensive team or another defensive team. That's just a good flex. And so maybe having 2 of those per season, just something as simple as mix these 2 teams together as traits and let us just run wild with it.
Yeah, there you go. Something as simple as A-Force spawn with Safeguard. There you go. Now you figure out a way to use A-Force. All right, Jgiusti, I appreciate you for coming on and giving us a glimpse into your brain here for the upcoming Crucible season. Make sure you go check out Jgiusti and his YouTube channel and on Twitch. His links will be in the description below and the comment section. Once again, Jgiusti, thank you so much for coming and hanging out. Got anything you want to say before we take off?
No, just best of luck in the next season.
That's it, everybody. Have yourselves a great season. And do remember, you will be dropping down your ranks between seasons 5 and season 6. So next week, you will take a big hit in your rankings. But next time, between seasons 6 and 7, you will not take a hit. All right, guys. Have yourselves a great day, and we'll talk soon. Bye for now. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.